What's up, everyone? This is Kross, aka Adam, back with another WWE Week In review. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. Also, just posted my AEW Week In review yesterday, so a link will be at the end of this. Super hot in my apartment. The lighting isn't great, and I wanted to get this out yesterday, but I was just too busy hanging out, having a life, you know. So anyway, I know you guys are clamoring for it, all two of you. So as always, what I like to do is I like to go over everything that happened in the week of WWE from Raw, NXT, Smackdown. Kind of give it the idea that, you know, if you didn't get to watch it, you feel like you've been there. So anyway, I'm gonna jump through everything, get through it as quickly as possible because I want to relax, watch some football, and enjoy what's left of my weekend. So we start off with Raw. So we get Randy coming out to the ring. He said he smashed his Mortal Compass long ago. He's gonna knock on the funhouse door, but who will let him in? Bray shows up in the funhouse on the Tron. Alexa won't be there since Randy was mean to her last week. I don't know if there was any reason why she wasn't there, just taking the week off. So the Let's Get Randy game he does this, game show. A new crucifix type thing is the prize, and the corpse of Friendship Frog. So R.I.P. Friendship Frog, even though he's still around. So how should Randy be punished at TLC? Randling says to sit down and discuss his feelings, and then Bray's just like, "You're sick, shut up." He always has the right answer, he being the Fiend. Randy wants a match with Bray tonight, and Bray accepts, so it'll be Funhouse Bray versus Randy later on. We get Asuka versus Shayna, which would normally be an awesome match, which we want, but we knew that this was going to be some kind of long finish because that's just the way WWE has it. Shayna and Nia at gorilla position. Nia is pumping her up. Something about like turn her insides to outsides, and then Shayna says, "Oh, she'll have boobs on her back," and it was just weird. So they're really going after each other with submissions. We get some yes kicks by Shayna. Asuka catches the last one, hits a German release, hits a code breaker. We get a clutch, but it's countered into a pinning attempt. The usual roll back over it. Nia attacks Lana on the outside to distract. Lana goes for a senton, but it's caught for a power bomb. But she counters with a Rana that sends Nia over the announce table. Shayna, for some reason, is completely like, "What are you doing? Get out of here!" Like completely, like as if it was like the stupid babyface syndrome, where you're just completely not paying attention. So Asuka rolls her up for the win, which is completely ridiculous. But we will be getting a women's tag team match between them, which we knew was going to happen eventually. Hurt Business arrives. Cedric's yelling at a production assistant to move his shit. MVP, you can hear him saying, "Oh, you've been feeling yourself lately," but kind of in a good way, not as if he has a problem with it. So, Ricochet, Dana getting ready for a mixed tag match. Riddle looking for the Hurt Business. He has Bro Nuts with him. He's kind of like, hi, we got to get pumped up. He's like, "Oh, okay." So we get a Sarah interview. This is not a lonely crusade, Ricochet says. There's strength in numbers. He realizes that. And Dana has a nice shiner on her from Mia Yim. And, she says she's going to get back. So we get that match, Slapjack and Mia Yim, or Reckoning, versus Ricochet and Dana Brooke. Ali comes out with Retribution. No Dijak or Dio Madden. Some rumors about Dio Madden being sent back to the Performance Center for some, I guess, fine-tuning with a couple of the other big men. Hullabaloo, whatever you want to call it. Interesting that, and Keith Lee was among one of them. It's very interesting stuff. It makes no sense. So we had a Retribution promo. Both will meet their end, yada, yada, yada. Dana and Yim start. Ricochet with the flop catches Slapjack. Falcon Arrow by Slapjack for a 2 count. We get a missed cannonball by Slapjack. Ali's yelling at Yim. Fireman carry sit out slam by Dana for the win. Ali is just absolutely berating her and Slapjack in the ring. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Sheamus is taping up backstage. Keith Lee, no one buys the good guy routine. It just seems like Keith Lee is going to be the one to turn because the browbeating of everyone, which is basically just Keith Lee at this point, that he's going to turn on Drew, and he's like, "Excuse me while I go turn on the champ." So congrats to Becky. She had her baby Rue with Seth Rollins, so congratulations to them. Already everyone's like, okay, she gonna be there for the Rumble? No. Miz TV, AJ's the guest. They couldn't find a tree big enough for Jordan, so or almost, whatever they call them. Match with Drew will be a TLC match. They're mocking Drew and Sheamus' accents, Miz and Morrison. It was actually pretty funny. Sheamus music hits. He's sick of being told he's going to betray Drew. He's outnumbered until Drew comes out. You know, he's wearing a kilt. Drew to AJ, you know, will always overcome the odds. Drew to Miz and Morrison, you know, they keep coming back for more, so he gives them credit for that. Miz has no balls. Maurice keeps them in a purse. Miz and Morrison are sent out of the ring. Money in the Bank is tossed all the way, a la Brock Lesnar by Drew, and he smashes the LED board, breaking it. So that was pretty funny. Then we get Kofi versus Shelton. Shelton obviously using his power advantage to wear Kofi down. Kofi with the desperation cave-in. SOS is counted into a gut-wrench powerbomb for a 2 count, right into an ankle lock by Shelton. Shelton tossed over the top with one arm, and then Shelton beats the count into a Trouble in Paradise for the win. Cedric says to run this back, and you know, Kofi has a limp because he got tossed over the top rope at some point and looks like his knee buckled. This whole thing about, like, you know, they lose but they want another match. They keep doing this. So Kofi for some reason accepts, even though he's limping. So obviously Cedric is targeting the left knee, the one that was injured in the previous match. Kofi hits an SOS for a 2 count, spinning brainbuster by Cedric for a 2 count, and then out of nowhere hits the lumbar check for the win. You know, and then he's got, you know, celebrating like crazy. Shelton can see that he's feeling himself. MVP says it's okay since they won, so he's like, don't worry about it. You know, that he's not, you know, he's just going a little crazy. So then we get this this, what do you call it, 3-on-2 tag team match. I don't know why I was blank on that. Drew and Sheamus versus Miz, Morrison, and AJ. Morrison looks completely hapless now. I don't know why they keep doing this to him. They're making him look like an idiot. Sheamus almost hits Drew, but they catch Morrison and toss him into the commentary, and he lands on a chair, which was pretty crazy. Back from break, Miz is taking heat. AJ tagged himself in for a second to get some offense on Drew, then tags out right away. Sheamus hits 10 beat to the Bowery on Miz. Miz chop blocks Sheamus. Morrison, an impressive gator roll, keeps Sheamus from tagging into Drew. So that looked pretty cool. Calf crusher on Sheamus by AJ. Drew breaks it up. Desperation white noise by by Sheamus. Hot tag to Drew. Double belly to belly on Miz and Morrison. Unfortunately, Sheamus hits a bro kick that connects with Drew. Then a phenomenal forearm for the win. So obviously they're all celebrating there. And, you know, there's the one, whether or not this is going to, affect the two of them. Asuka and Lana are backstage. Lana doesn't want to face Nia next week. Asuka saying, I believe in myself. And, pumping Lana up to say this. It's so stupid. Then Asuka leaves. Lana's still chanting to herself, turns around, Nia's in frame, just staring her down, and she leaves. This was just so dumb. Sheamus is backstage. Drew is going to try, he says to, I believe, Charlie, Drew's going to try to kick my ass, and I'll do the same. They confront each other. He says he knows it wasn't intentional. Drew says, what's going to happen now? So then we go to break. Weird place to break. We come back from break. They're beating the shit out of each other backstage. Everyone's around cheering it on. Pat Buck tries to break it up. They beat the shit out of him. Put him through a table. They look at each other and go, pints? All right, you're buying this time. So they were able to just get it out of their system. Lashley versus Hardy. Riddle comes up to Hardy in gorilla position. Wants to be a new tag team called the Hardy Bros. Says broetry in motion they'll do. And Hardy's like, okay, but I do have to go get this match. He's like, oh yeah. So Lashley's in control early. Hardy counters out of a Dominator and a Hurt Lock. MVP's on the apron. Riddle comes out to even the odds. Hardy sent into the post during the break. Hardy in the Tree of Woe. Bobby with the sleeper hold, and then a jawbreaker by Hardy to get out of it. Whisper in the Wind actually connects. It was a decent one for 2 count. Lashley's bleeding from his face at this point. We had a twist of fate. No Swanton misses it, catches a spear, and then a Hurt Lock by Lashley for the win. Riddle comes to his aid. MVP eats a bro nut, kind of throws it on the ground, so that was kind of funny. Randy's in his locker room. He gets a knock at the door. It's Rambling Rabbit, says he can't wait to see him in the ring. And then we get our main event, Randy versus Bray. So Bray backdrops Randy onto commentary. He goes, yowie wowie, we'll be right back. So when he grabs one of the commentary headsets. So Randy's in control back from Bray. Bray's just laughing as he's taking the punishment. Bray hits a fun splash, then a leaping DDT by Bray for a 2 count. We get a backdrop on commentary. This time Bray goes into commentary. We get a Sister Abigail countered yet again. We get a draping DDT, and the lights go out. And while the lights are going out, Randy hits the RKO. The lights go out again, and then the Fiend's music starts. And then he goes for the cover. When they come back, Randy's actually covering the Fiend. The Fiend then hits the Mandible Claw on Randy, and we go out. So basically, this was taped earlier. So that's how they did it, movie magic. And there you go. That's Raw for the week. We go to NXT next. So we have... so Finn's in the ring to start right away. He says War Games is done and the time for team sports is over. He makes a challenge out there for anyone. Pete Dunne's music hits. He says they're a lot alike, but we'll put him on the shelf and take the title. Kyle O'Reilly out next. I guess his invitation got lost in the mail. He says he has unfinished business with Finn. And then Damian Priest. I don't know why Damian Priest music hits. You know, he's been looking forward to this since he was the one when he was heel, taking out Finn. And then Pete Dunne says, "Aren't you the geezer who couldn't even beat Leon Ruff?" And then, he's like, "Well, aren't you the guy that gets paid to shut up?" Or something like that. So he says, Finn says he'll defend the title at New Year's Evil. Who's going to get the Finn rub? Obviously, it says, but it's not his decision. It's Regal's. Kross's music hits. Scarlett comes out with a very pointy, weird singlet. When Finn goes to her, when Kross is ready, he's ready. Damian then from the ring, apparently Kyle and Peter Dune have now teleported out. Calls her the Smoke Show, obviously from her time in Impact. Says next time, he tells Kross to step to him like a man. So we get Pete Dunne interview backstage. Dane goes after him right away. It's broken up by Dre and refs, and Lorcan and Birch grab Pete Dunne. So we get Jake Atlas versus Swerve Scott. Vic says Kurt Stallion is the number one contender. Apparently that's been going on through 205 Live for the Cruiserweight title. It's pretty even. Swerve keeps getting the upper hand, though. We had a leaping flatliner by Swerve for a 2 count. He gets a super kick and then a sit-out X-Plex by Atlas for a 2 count. House call by Swerve. There's a bunch of pinning attempts back and forth. Atlas ends up getting the win over it. Swerve looks in shock and he's pissed. He won't even shake Atlas's hand. He's got this nasty look, so it looks like this whatever momentum they had for Swerve early on is pretty much gone, and probably they'll turn him heel at this point. We get a Tommaso Ciampa promo. He says he didn't think it would be easy, but he had to know. Now no one is safe. He calls out Cameron Grimes next. He says he's very secure, very confident, very secure in himself, but most likely that's insecurity. It disguises confidence. Grizzled Young Veterans versus Imperium versus Everrise in a triple threat tag match. We got the Vets, the only one that gets an actual entrance. Triple threat rules, which I like, but Everrise doesn't want to even get in the ring. They're just, waiting to beat somebody down when they have the advantage. Just hiding out. So we get a double drop kick in the corner by Imperium on Parker. Eichner hits a moonsault on Drake for a 2 count. Everrise tries to steal a victory, but gets a ticket to Mayhem on Parker for the win. So Grizzly Young Veterans get the rub here. They're getting the momentum. I like this. We get a recap of War Games. Then we get a backstage interview with Toni Storm. Ember was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Right move since her team won, obviously. Says she's going to be the next NXT champ. Io crashes the interview, says, "I have no problem with Toni," but he doesn't like her, and then beats the shit out of her. And the fight goes all the way out to ringside. Toni escapes a moonsault, and then Ember with the attack throws her back into the ring, so then she catches the Io moonsault. We get Ciampa versus Cameron Grimes. Thatch comes out with the chair, sits on the apron, on the ramp like Ciampa was doing to him. Grimes tries to use Thatch as a distraction. Grimes in control through picture-in-picture. Shot of the stitches in Thatcher's ear after War Games. Grimes hits the collision course for a 2 count. And then Tyler Russ gets involved, and I was like, who is that? And then I remembered he was kind of the guy last week. Eventually, Ciampa hits the Widow's Bell for the win. There's another stare down between the two of them. Thatch says he had nothing to do with Russ coming down. Grimes confronts Thatch, saying, you're getting in my way, blah, 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 blah. Thatch just snaps his ankle, and he's just screaming. Backstage interview with Raquel Gonzalez. Said War Games was the biggest night of her career. Dakota got injured by Ember at War Games, so she's looking to get revenge. Maybe it was on that ridiculous Eclipse where it looked like she just snap Dakota's neck. The Garganos arrive with Indy and Austin Theory. We get another one of these vignettes of Xia Li and Boa training / torture. So Xia is training on one of those Wing Chun dummies, and her hands are bleeding, and the guy keeps saying hit faster. Boa is bitten with kendo sticks, hit him harder. The quality of it is rather good. They were doing it in like slow motion, so you saw like every like muscle move when he got hit by the kendo sticks. We get a brief look at the woman. She's kind of got like some face paint on. Not sure who it's going to be at this point. So the Garganos and everybody out to the ring for a celebration. Johnny's dancing like a clown, looks hysterical. Indy's still in the neck brace. Candy is in the wrist brace. They're calling themselves the Way, because obviously the Gargano Way. And then, what's his name? Austin Theory's like, yeah, the Milky Way. And they're like, everyone's like, no. Candice is Miss War Games because she's won 2 years in a row. Has a surprise. Johnny has a surprise for Candice. It's a trophy with Shotzi's head on it. Priest and Ruff want a tag match next week. Priest comes out, gonna stuff the pipe up his ass. Kross comes out of nowhere, beats the shit out of Priest. Powerbomb on the stage. We get a tracking shot that follows Kross going out to the parking lot, and then in the car, drives away with what's her name? Smoke Show. Scarlett. I don't know why I couldn't remember Scarlett. So they drive off. So we get a Tyler Rust interview backstage, but then Bivens interrupts, asks him to talk business. Said, I gave you my card a week ago, and, let's talk. So they decide to talk. Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane. Dane's super aggressive, obviously, wants revenge. Series of pump kicks. Headbutts the post. When Dunne moves out of the way, Dunne takes advantage. We get a snap German by Dunne. Dane takes advantage after the commercial break. Hits a Uranagi, a slingshot sent on a powerbomb, and an elbow drop, all by Dane for a 2 count. Kind of goes for what looks like a one-winged angel. It's countered into a triangle by Dunne, and then that's countered into a powerbomb by Dane. Dunne with the Danielson stomps after Dane misses the cannonball. We get an avalanche fisherman suplex by Dane for a 2 count. Birch and Lorcan run off, come down, but they're run off by Drake. But then when Drake is watching the match, they come back and beat the shit out of him. Dane goes to help him, catches a bitter end back in the ring for the Peter Dune win. He's not really happy with Drake. Backstage interview with Leon Ruff. Gargano and Theory crash. Say no way Priest will be ready for next week. Ruff can take us on 1-on-2. Kushida shows up and says, I'll be your partner. So there you have it. And then our main event, Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon. Raquel's all over Moon, bragdolling her. Moon takes advantage, hits a low flatliner. Fun splash and like a dive through the ropes, knocks Raquel to the floor. We get Raquel gains advantage through picture-in-picture. Gory special submission by Raquel Gonzalez. Then we tilt-a-whirl DDT by Ember Moon for a 2 count. Dive sends Raquel into commentary. Moon tries to climb the kind of like the truss there. Raquel catches her into and then long darts her into the post for a 2 count. That was pretty rough. Raquel posted herself. Moon gets a 2 count on that. Raquel catches the Eclipse. Catches her trying to do the Eclipse, and then Moon counters into a single arm powerbomb. Raquel eventually hits it. She's like, Moon's trying to fight out of the powerbomb. Eventually, Raquel hits her with the 1-arm powerbomb for the win. Huge win for Raquel, keeping that momentum going. Tony comes out to try and help Moon. Rhea's music hits, comes out to help Ember. Raquel will take it from here. Says to Moon, like, just I got this, and then they have like some epic stare down, so they're gonna have a really great match. I assume that Raquel Gonzalez is gonna win so that she has the match against Io. That would make sense, but this was an awesome match. And then finally we have Smackdown. Let me just check where we're at. Nice. So we had Sasha Carmella contract signing. Pierce is presiding over it. He hands over the leather folder to Sasha. There's no contract in it. She's like, what is this, a setup? What are you trying to do here? She flips out. Mella's on the Tron with the contract in hand. She signed it and sends one of her lackeys, who is also her sommelier, to bring it to Sasha. She says, this isn't Tiger King. This is the Queen's Gambit. Sasha challenges her tonight for a match. Carmella agrees, which is stupid because we all know what's going to happen. Sasha beats up that sommelier. It just felt weak. Why have the match tonight? We know what's going to happen. It's going to be some kind of wonk fuck finish because we're then going to have the match at TLC anyway. Backstage interview with Street Profits. Dolph and Rude comments affect them? No. What if, saying that we're trying to be funny? What if there's solo cups raining during the match? What if there's Dawkins hits Rude so hard that there opens up a parallel dimension and all these other dimensional Rudes come out and something? It was just weird. Montez Ford versus Dolph Ziggler. We knew that this was going. Dolph promo. He said he went to college for 7 years. He can't be a poor man's HBK because he's rich as hell. Street Profits are a poor man's DeJesus and Miro. Dawkins actually laughs at that. The only thing less funny than his stand-up is Street Profits, so he's burying himself. Apparently, Dolph and Rude are now calling themselves the Aces of WWE. So we get the real ace, Tanahashi, in New Japan. We got the ace of AEW, Cody, and now we got the aces of WWE. So Dolph is keeping Ford on the mat. Ford takes control. Rude tries to get involved, but Dawkins scares him off. Ford makes it rain blue solo cups in the ring, and then it just goes to break, and then we come back, and the cups are gone. But the match is still going on. Dolph is now in control. Does 10 elbow drops in a row, which I actually thought was pretty cool. Standing moonsault by Ford. Famouser and a zigzag, both countered by Ford. Huge insecurity kick. And then Rude attacks Dawkins on the outside. Super kick by Dolph for the win. That was predictable. We knew Dolph would win because it would set up, usually what happens is individual matches happen. The champions lose, setting up the tag team title match, and then tag team champions win. Same thing every time. Sammy is arguing with the merch table. Kalisto, Tamino, and Apollo are just watching there. Big E comes up with his own shirt on. Says, don't worry about the shirt, worry about the meat inside. And he goes, don't worry, we got a shirt for you. Apollo, give me it. So he gives the shirt, and it's this really crude, B-team type drawing on the shirt, which would probably sell gangbusters if they actually sell it. Tries to rip it, he can't. So then Sammy goes out to the ring. He's going on some diatribe, but even as it's going, it started before we came back from commercial. So Cole is doing his Geico or Prudential or whatever insurance it is, while Sammy's ranting. So he wants respect. They took time to honor Pat Patterson, fellow Montreal Quebecer, but not him as the current champ. So we get Sammy versus Big E. Wale did the new music I forgot to mention last week. He has powder at the top of the ramp now. That's his new gimmick. Corey looked legit mad at the jacket toss this time. Sammy makes make sure everyone knows that it's a non-title match. Sammy's wearing a wrist brace, apparently because when Big E shook his hand last week and crushed his hand. Big E is able to counter any of Sammy's offense. Then we got here Sammy splash off the apron for Big E. Back from break, Sammy's in control. Sammy mocks Big E with the gyrating of the hips. We get E doesn't fall for Sammy's trick. We get a Uranagi in the corner by Big E. Sammy says his hand is hurting. He slaps Big E. Sammy then runs off. They're both under the ring. Sammy was able to win by countout by kicking Big E at the last second to jump back in the ring. So we do this again. Sammy winning by nonsense, and then I assume we're going to have some kind of Intercontinental title match with Big E, I hope. Bayley promo says good luck to Mella. She still runs the division, runs down Sasha and Bianca, and while she's doing that, Bianca's standing behind her. Bianca then shits on Bayley's looks. Receipts, I got the receipts, and pulls out receipts who was the one who lost to Natalie? You. Who was the first one eliminated at Survivor Series, and who lasted the longest? Yeah. Who is the fastest? And she gets just mad and just walks off. Roman and Heyman arrive. Then we get backstage interview with Mella. She's the reason why Sasha's even relevant. Tommy apparently is the name of the sommelier / lackey. She wants champagne at ringside for her win. We have a recap of the Roman segment from last week. Jay asks if they're good. And he's like, you should be. You're with me. You should be good because you're with me. KO comes out to the ring, brings in tables, ladders, and chairs, saying each one of them is his friend and why. Roman is at his best right now, but he still doesn't fear him. Roman using his family to fight his battles for him. And then he says TLC is the most important match of his career, which I call bullshit. His friends will help him, and that's when he goes out and does that. Jay sneak attacks with the chair, and then Roman smiling, watching from the back. Eventually, Kevin Owens gets the advantage, even though his knee is hurt. He pop up power bombs Jay through the table. Then Roman's music hits. He comes out with Heyman. Heyman says KO is calling the shots, but Roman should be, and Roman leaves. KO comes up the ramp with the chair limping, which I thought was interesting here was that normally the way we've seen Heyman has been like kind of like a sniveling little yes man, even though when he does the introduction, but other than that, he's pretty much a sniveling yes man. This was the first time that Heyman was the one who was telling Roman what to do, not like in a telling you what to do way, but like kind of looking out for him, suggesting the better way to go about things, and Roman listened to his counsel. So that was interesting. So we come back from break. KO is walking around looking for Roman. Then Kayla is interviewing Kevin Owens, but like apparently like you could see like she's like waiting for Roman to attack, and she doesn't say anything, and then runs off. Roman beats the shit out of him, and then talks to the camera to KO's family, introduces himself, says that he's the reason why this guy's gonna go down. We get Riot Squad versus Billy and Natalya. This was set up during Talking Smack last week. She had to find a partner. It was Natalya. Nat doesn't look impressed with Billy's resume. The squad working crisp on Billy. Shades of K with the distraction from Nat. Codebreaker Riot Kick combo on Billy for the win. A lot of confusion in this match, though. Natalya and Billy are arguing on the outside. Still don't get why they broke up Iconics to then have them team with other people. Okay, so we got Gable training with Otis, working on his blind side, basically just like throwing things at him, and eventually he catches something. Then they're backstage. So we saw a vignette of them training. Then we see them backstage. Gable says that Otis has the grit, what he's looking for in a student. Cesaro comes in and goes, "What were you at the Olympics for? For making toys for Santa's word shop?" And then Shinsuke says, "No, limbo." That was funny. Otis gets fired up. So we get Shinsuke and Cesaro versus Gable and Otis. Gable's taking hot tag to Otis. Gable gets the blind tag, gets caught in a swing, and then eventually asked to be tagged in by Otis. Otis tags him in. He catches a Kinshasa from Shinsuke for the win. So then they're backstage. Gable said he asked for the tag, but he didn't actually want it. Says, this was a lesson teaching you, showing you what not to do. So Otis looks confused, but like so are we all. Corbin backstage says that together they're going to be known as the Knights of the Lone Wolf. So if Ray steps up, the consequences will be worse than losing an eye. Okay. Then we get our main event, the title match, Sasha versus Mella. So new music and a silhouette entrance for Mella. We find out next week there's going to be a Smackdown tag team match for Rudendal versus Street Profits, Bayley versus Bianca, and I don't understand why both matches aren't on the pay-per-view. So I assume that they'll be like messed up finishes and then go to TLC. So we have flying hit scissors by Mella. She hits the X Factor on the apron. Sasha is pulled into the post. Sasha hits the Meteora in the corner and then a double knees for 2 count. Mella does another head scissors submission in the ropes. Mella with the crossbody from the top for a 2 count. Gets the code of silence, but she can't grab the ankle to kind of fully lock it in. It's countered into a bank statement, and then the lackey throws the bottle in the ring to distract the ref to help her break her out of it. Sasha gets DQ'd, for beating up Carmella and not stopping. Bank statement on the lackey. Mella then attacks her. They fight on the outside. She gets hit in the back with a bottle, and then Cole, you hear, "Are you crazy?" I just thought that was hysterical. She sprays champagne everywhere on commentary, on Sasha, everywhere, celebrating. Also, this is the first time they've been at the Tropicana Field since moving away from Thunderdome in the Amway Center. Looks exactly the same. So there you have it. That was SmackDown. That is my WWE Week in Review. As always, I give my match of the week. That's definitely going to Ember Moon versus Raquel Gonzalez. That match was hard-hitting, awesome. I love what they're doing with Raquel Gonzalez right now. It sucks because I really like Ember Moon, but I think right now what they're doing is much, much better, keeping her strong. I mean, she was still pretty strong in the loss anyway, but yeah, and then the epic stare down with Rhea after sets up a really great match between the two of them, the Hoss women going at it. So that's it. That's my WWE Week in Review. Check out my AEW Week in Review as well. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. I am exhausted. Late nights. But I like doing this. So let me know what your thoughts are and all that good stuff. So weather's beautiful out there. Enjoy the day if you can. Enjoy football. As always, be safe, love each other, and bye now.